Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Rich Perez welcoming you back into another dose of your weekly rundown. Of course, joined in with me, as always, my brother from another, my co-host, all the way from the U, Kayson Davis. How you doing, Kay?
Good. How you doing this week?
Doing all right, man. You know, it's been a long one. We're coming to you guys at a little later in the week than usual. I'm coming to the realization that I'm getting older and stuff, so that's not easy. But it is what it is. What can you do?
Well, make this year your best year.
Yeah. So we had some stuff going on, man. We've been giving you guys a lot of basketball lately, but we're gonna start the show off a little differently. I guess some football talking here. So no, I don't want to talk about the NFL draft yet. Russell Wilson. Did you see this? Have you heard about this?
I heard a little bit about it.
So this has been going on for a couple of weeks now. He's been having issues with the Seahawks coaching staff, from what I hear, and management. He wants a little more say in player personnel and things that are going on there. I guess he's not really seeing eye to eye too much with what Pete Carroll's doing. So I heard Michael Kay from ESPN Radio and the Yes Network. He kind of talked about this today too. He was just like, what Pete Carroll does, if this is true, what Pete Carroll does, had Pete Carroll done a couple of years ago, what he usually does now, the Seahawks would have 2 Super Bowls. So, 2 back-to-back Super Bowls. So how can you kind of go against that, right? But anyway, I digress. So that's kind of, allegedly his issues and everything. Just saying, they kind of made it seem like he wanted to get out of Seattle. So today, his team kind of came out and said, no, he doesn't want to be traded. He would like to, remain with the Seattle Seahawks, but if he's going to get traded, he wouldn't mind being moved to 4 teams, which were, give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. The Saints, the Dolphins, wait. No, it is the Cowboys, the Saints, the Raiders, and the Bears. Now, there's one team that, has been talked a lot about needing a quarterback, even though they do have a young one there, that was not mentioned in that. And I think that that's very telling that this is the second quarterback who's possibly looking to get out that was not mentioned, that, did not mention the Jets as a preferable destination. Number 1. Number 2, Russell Wilson does not want to be in Seattle no more. Why is he trying to be the nice guy here? James Harden wanted out of Houston. So he did what he didn't really want to do, which was be the bad guy. And that got him where he wanted to go. So why is Russell Wilson acting like I did? You don't have to trade me, but if you are, I'd like to go here. Like, if you're going to do it, like, just come out and say you don't want to be there anymore. Like Matthew Stafford in Detroit. Matthew Stafford went and talked to the Detroit Lions management, said, look, I think things aren't working out. I want to get out of here. Didn't have to throw it into the media or anything out like that. Quietly sorted it out. He got moved to the Rams. Like, why is this being such a big deal on their part? And why is Russell Wilson not why he's just such an awkward guy.
I mean, some people don't want to take that maybe kind of PR hit or want that bad kind of maybe attention brought to them. If you look at Giannis's comments when they asked him why he resigned, he said that he didn't want to see people burn his jerseys and things like that. We have seen the kind of hit that some people take when they want to kind of maybe leave and force their way out. You saw with James Harden, the bad things that everyone had to say about him and things like that. So I think, knowing kind of Russell Wilson with the way we know him, he likes to be like a class act type of guy. And when you kind of force your way out, you don't look like that class act type of guy no more. So I think I'm not surprised by the way he's playing. It just kind of maybe from what we've seen with him. So that's, if you ask me, that's why. Maybe he doesn't want people burning his jerseys and things like that. So he doesn't maybe want to take that bad PR hit. Especially he probably has a lot of love for the city of Seattle, and he doesn't want to see them kind of start to hate him.
James Harden had a lot of love for Houston. He still puts it out there to this day. Literally to this day, he's got a lot of love for Houston. But he
Nah,
did what he had to do. I think
nah.
sometimes you just got to put yourself first, man.
True, but not everyone can take it. Cause
It,
you gotta take a big hit. I don't think everyone can take it. James Harden, he took his hits on the chin and things like that. He got to where he wanted to be, and now he's happy. But not a lot of people can kind of take it. Giannis showed us. Now everyone wants to take that. Now everyone wants to see maybe the city not be behind them no more and start burning their jerseys and stuff.
yeah, but I mean, I think Giannis is kind of regretting that a little bit now. But aside from that, like you're kind of in the business where that's going to happen. You got to find a way to deal with it. As a professional athlete, unfortunately, you kind of have to. If you don't have it, you got to be able to develop some tough skin. But hey, what are you gonna do? I think Russell Wilson clearly does not want to be in Seattle anymore. And instead of tiptoeing around it, just own up to it. It's okay. You don't like how things are going. You would like a fresh start. It's all right. You can do it.
In this era, I think it's not that bad. But I see. I'm not knocking him a little bit for kind of trying to take the nice way out. There's some people are just, even if it's things like not in sports and things like that, some people just don't have the heart to maybe let some people down or be that bad guy. So they always kind of try to tell you what you want to hear and kind of take that way out. So I'm not too surprised. I'm not gonna knock him too much for it, but like you said, maybe he's just come out and say it, but maybe he still can get what he wants the same way. So we'll see.
We definitely will see, man. It's definitely not changing anytime soon. Did you see Deshaun Watson told the new Texans head coach, I guess they finally got a chance to talk. He said, I don't want to play for you. I'm not playing for you. Like I see this funny meme where it's like it had like that Bugs Bunny thing where he's just like, you know what I mean? And it's like Texans, what if we Deshaun Watson? No. Like from everything I'm hearing from like ESPN's Diana Rossini and things like that, as much Deshaun Watson wants out and everything, we're putting him to what if he goes to this team and that team and what else? The Texans apparently have no they have no interest in trading him at all. They believe 100% that this is salvageable, and they don't want to trade him at all. Not only that, Deshaun Watson came out today, I believe it was a tweet, and he put out loyalty is everything.
Right.
So it's kind of like it's kind of like who's gonna. I guess they kind of feel like which one is gonna cave first. And it's just not gonna like the way it's working out. Like people try to make the case that the Texans have leverage, and we talked about this before. But it just kind of feels like regardless of what happens, it's going to end up working out in Deshaun Watson's favor. Because what are the Texans going to do? Bring in another quarterback, like a Marcus Mariota or Cam Newton or something, and now you got a capable starter there while your superstar quarterback is just chilling, at home.
I think it kind of be like the same with James Harden. The Houston Rockets felt the same way with James Harden. They was willing to get uncomfortable. They felt like they had the advantage. He was under contract for a couple more years. So I think I look at it as kind of like the same exact situation. So, like you said, it's going to be, obviously we've seen with the Rockets that the Rockets obviously gave out first, but it's going to be the same thing. Who kind of gives out first here, and how uncomfortable are the Texans willing to get?
Yeah, I mean, this is dragged out for a while. I think some teams are even starting to look at it like, hey, we can't wait this long for you guys to make a move and everything. He's got the no trade clause. And that brings me to my next point, with the NFL draft, slowly but surely approaching here in the next 2 months. A lot of these teams got to make some decisions. You got a team like the Bears that, seem like they're done with Mitchell Trubisky. You got the team that everybody's been talking about. We just mentioned them a little while ago, which is the New York Jets. And are they? My man is eating good over there. I see you, Kay. The New York Jets that they got to figure out. Do we want to bring Sam Darnold back and possibly pay him because he's in the fourth year of his contract, or do we want to go another route? And you got GM Joe Douglas, who, he's not really saying much, but he could basically go either or of, is he on the fence with Sam Darnold? And if he's on the fence, he could say, well, I didn't draft Sam Darnold we're looking to rebuild this thing anyway. I'm gonna just go get my own guy with the second overall pick. I've seen some people actually talk about this kid Pitts, the tight end from Florida, I believe. I don't know if you're familiar with him,
Not as much.
but a lot of people like this kid a lot, and they're saying that this should be the Jets' choice. Yeah, last time we talked about what the Jets doing, we were talking about how they brought in an offensive coordinator from the 49ers who, runs a very similar offense to what the San Francisco 49ers are currently doing, and it could work out for Sam. So if they're going to go tight end, I guess that makes sense. But, Zach Wilson has been the consensus guy that, a lot of people are linking the New York Jets to.
Yeah, it's kind of like the same thing I've been saying about the Jets this whole time. It's going to depend on what direction they want to go. Like you said, they can start all over with a new coach and stuff, and maybe look at it as Sam Darnold's not the guy that they drafted, and they can kind of move on, especially with kind of the time he's had there. Or they can try to keep him and maybe build around him. But to me, this who they pick or what they decide to do is going to be telling on what they're going to do towards the future. So I guess if they go quarterback here, then you can probably see that the writing's kind of on the wall for Sam Darnold. But if not, they go in a different position. You may think they're going to try to stick this out with Sam Darnold a little longer. So I think we kind of have to wait and see what they're going to do first because we kind of don't know yet.
Yeah, I mean, just nobody's asking for my opinion, but I guess I'll give it anyway. I think, they should stick with Sam Darnold. I know that nobody there is actually tied to him. Like, I don't even think the owner is tied to him because the owner Woody Johnson is back now. He was serving as the U.S. ambassador over in Britain, and that now that we got a new regime running the country, he's back. So I don't even think he was there for the Sam Darnold draft because what year that was following 2016, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So yeah, like it doesn't seem like anybody there is actually tied to Sam Darnold. But if you go back and look at where he graded out going into the draft, and then you take into account that the organization has really failed him. He hasn't had a good defense. He has had zero weapons over there. Like he has had nothing. Like he had Le'Veon Bell, but they didn't have an offensive line.
Yeah, we kind of seen kind of maybe how bad the Jets have been kind of over the last couple of years. And like you said, the organization may have failed them. So for me, I've been saying it for a while. It may be time for just to get a new start. Like some people just need a fresh start to maybe maximize their potential. It obviously hasn't worked out over there. So I think they have the second pick. There's a good opportunity to maybe get another quarterback in there. So I think I would probably just try to reset it and go from there. Like you said, no one has ties to him. No one feels like they have to hopefully that he works out to maybe keep their job or something like that. So I think it's kind of time for them to cut ties with him and let him maybe be great somewhere else.
Yeah, and I think we can all kind of agree. We think he has the talent there, and I think that's kind of what scares maybe the Jets organization and their fans alike is he goes somewhere else, and just shows out.
But it's like that sometimes. Like I said, sometimes people just have to be in a different situation kind of for them to show out. No matter what the case is, maybe it's the organization failed them, maybe it's the city. Some people just don't play good in certain cities because there's too much things going on. So in some cases, it's just like he probably may have not worked out for you anyway. So to hold on to him for that, you may end up holding on to him for too long, and he may end up leaving anyway. So.
Yeah, but we'll wait and see. I mean, you bring up a good point there. I mean, Ryan Tannehill, Ryan Tannehill leaves the Miami Dolphins, goes over to Tennessee and shows out. So definitely got to wait and see what goes on there. We got a question. First question here from Fishing with Dog. Thoughts on Cam Newton beefing with the high schooler! Exclamation point. Cam put out his side of things. Gave more light to the situation because when we first initially saw the video, you see this high school kid. And first of all, the kid was wrong. You're over there at this camp and you have this pro athlete there, kind of with his own team, of course, but just kind of showing love, watching everything going on, and you're over here just antagonizing the guy. Like I don't understand, what the point of that was. We trying to be funny or whatever it is, but Cam, when you see the first video, it looks like Cam kind of stoops to the kid's level a little bit and is going at him. He's saying, "Where's your dad? Where's your dad?" Like, I guess trying to fit a go at a stereotype or something like that. But then Cam puts out his own video. I guess he had people shooting too, and gives his side of things. And he's saying when he mentions the "Where's your dad?" comment, it's to say, "I'd like to have a conversation with your father." And also, him just having we get the full video now, and it's him having a conversation with the kid. And then of course the kid's coach gets involved. The kid puts out an apology a day or two later. So I mean, I once you get like Cam's side of things, and he put out enough to where you should kind of believe what's going on there. Yeah, I think the kid, it really falls on the kid, and I definitely think he was wrong there. But also, I personally don't want to put too much on him, because the key thing I keep saying here is kid. Kids tend to do stupid things. He's a kid in high school, and he got his 15 seconds of fame or whatever, and hopefully he learned his lesson.
Yeah, pretty much more of the same. Like you say, he's just a kid, and negativity sells. So he probably said something just to get Cam's attention. I mean, obviously he could have went about it in a better way, but he kind of got what he wanted. Like you said, his little 15 seconds of fame. So obviously, like I said, he should have went about it in a better way. But like you said, when Cam puts it out, it looks a lot better. It looks different. I would figure that he was asking for. I guess my first thought when I saw it, I would figure he's asking for his dad. I would hope Cam wouldn't just be asking kids like, "Where's
Yeah.
your dad?" Like, oh, like because trying to be like, "Oh, you don't have no dad" type of thing. I think that'd be crazy. So I figured he probably wanted to talk to the kid's dad. So yeah, I guess it is what it is. Like you say, he got his little 15 seconds of fame, but he kind of went about it the wrong way.
Yeah, and to the young man, I personally think Cam, he was coming at him talking about he's a free agent, so he's not good because he's a free agent. I think Cam will play in the NFL, in whether it's a starter or a backup role. Cam will be in the NFL next season, but that's just my personal opinion. What can I say?
I wouldn't be surprised if the kid was a Cam fan. Like I said, negativity sells. That's what gets people's attention. Like he Loki, if he would have just called out Cam's name, Cam probably would have paid him no mind, because he probably had mad people calling his name out that day. So you say something like that, you get the guy's attention, and after he was in it, he probably just kept going. So it is what it is.
Maybe. Let's get over the hoops, man. The Lakers, the defending NBA champs, they lost their number two man. Excuse me, lost their number two man, as well as somebody who you would expect to be the future of the team. He is at a prime age, but lost him to injury. Anthony Davis, very scary, by the way. It's very similar to the injury KD sustained previous to him, tearing his Achilles. So that's definitely something you got to watch out for. Okay, I know me and you actually talked about that, on the side, but they're struggling a little bit, and there's a lot to talk about here. You can expect them to struggle when they're down a player like Anthony Davis, and they get rid of guys like Dwight Howard and Rajon Rondo and a couple of other guys as well. But I mean, the other thing to talk about here is LeBron James put a lot of minutes in right now. Put a lot of miles on those tires, and at his age, not the greatest thing to do. It's the whole reason they brought Anthony Davis in there, was to take the load off of him a little bit. So where do the Lakers go from here? And is it time to hit the panic button?
I would say it's time to hit the panic button for kind of the situation you just said. Obviously, LeBron's up there in age, and he kind of hasn't looked as good right now. The Lakers haven't looked as good in general. But AD, it seems like it could be a big concern. Like you said, may have the same injury that kind of KD did. And we saw how much time KD missed. Obviously, some of it was because of the coronavirus. But they should be concerned for the fact that if it is like the same injury, he's gonna miss the rest of this season and then next season. So that's like 2 years of Bron's career. So he'd come back in basically almost maybe like 3 years. It'd be like 3 playoff runs from now, technically. So like that's why they should kind of be concerned. I don't know what they can possibly do. Maybe see if there's some trades or something out there, but they have to kind of figure something out. Hopefully, I was thinking before kind of these last couple of games that they should be able to kind of get by with just maybe Braun leading them the way, leading them. But it's more concerning now that they kind of don't look as good with kind of Bron just leading them. So I think that they should be highly concerned. Obviously, AD's health is the most important. So if it's something where he can come back during this playoff run, you sit him for as long as possible, and then it doesn't matter what seed you get, it's just as long as you get in, and then from there they can kind of go, and kind of do what they got to do from there. So I think, like I said, they should be concerned. They could end up falling a little bit, maybe, maybe not, but obviously the number one thing, like I said, is get Anthony Davis healthy, and hopefully he doesn't end up tearing his Achilles and end up missing 2 years.
Yeah, I think what happened to Kevin Durant is a cautionary tale, and it's super super similar right now to what Anthony Davis is going through to what Kevin Durant went through, during those playoffs. So I agree with you. I think you got to sit him as much as you possibly can. We just saw he's not going to play in the All-Star game. Devin Booker, who a lot of people thought got snubbed. Well, he's in now. And by the way, I want to get through this Lakers segment before we get to this. But by the way, for a lot of people that want to talk about this person got snubbed and that person got snubbed, who are you taking out to put them in? But we'll talk about that in a bit. Um, who should the Lakers go after right now if you're going to move on from Anthony Davis? DeMarcus Cousins just got waived by the Houston Rockets. That was another one that was pretty weird to me because they kept him long enough where his contract was guaranteed for the year. And DeMarcus Cousins is playing very well. I thought it was great that he was teaming up with his former Kentucky teammate John Wall. But the Houston Rockets want to go in a different direction, kind of get back to that small ball thing, I guess. But is that a guy that the Lakers want to go after?
Yeah, I think he's probably the best option that's out there for him right now. I think they have to wait and kind of like a couple other teams and just see who are sellers at the trade deadline and kind of go from there. They're obviously not going to be able to trade for nobody that can make up for what AD has. So they kind of have to just maybe find. I think they might need like another scorer, whether it's like a 6-man. They're also missing Dennis Schroeder right now, which is a big problem for them. But
yeah,
besides the point, they need probably like another scorer. Obviously, they can maybe use another big man. If they bring DeMarcus Cousins in now, I think they still should try to go for another scorer, or at least another playmaker, someone that can take that pressure off of Bron, so he doesn't have to maybe do so much. And with Schroeder coming back, they kind of have a playmaker, so I would go for like another scorer, but you'd have to see who's a seller at the trade deadline, and then go from there.
Right. This is a weird. I don't know if you feel the same way I do. Maybe it's just because the year that we're dealing with still got COVID going on and everything. This is just a different year to me as far as the trade deadline and everything. Usually it's starting to get into a frenzy as we get closer and closer, but everything's still kind of quiet.
Yeah, because it's I think it's weird because like it's still kind of early in the season, even though it's not. That's kind of how it feels. It feels like it's early in the season, but we're kind of maybe almost halfway through. But with how many games have been missed and just people in and out the lineups, I don't think a lot of teams have been able to kind of see what their full rosters look like completely healthy. And it's not lockout shortened season. It's a shortened season, so they didn't really get as much time to see their team kind of gel together or see people on training camp or things like that. So I think like in a sense right now, it just feels like the season is early, but it's not that early, and I think that's why I think teams are still trying to give their team a little bit more time to gel. Just everything that's going on, it's like we may just need more time.
Yeah, one of the losses that the Lakers did just take were to the Washington Wizards. Washington Wizards kind of on a hot streak, man. Was that the fifth win in a row? Brody showing out. Bradley Beal doing exactly what he's been doing. You know what? Are the Wizards getting back on track? And can they kind of make a push in here to get to what we thought they could be? I mean, it's not like it's impossible. Remember, the Miami Heat didn't make the playoffs that year, but they went from a high lottery team to just literally the last day of the season missing the playoffs because they had the best record in the NBA in the second half.
Yeah, I think the Wizards are actually they're playing a lot better. They lost to the Clippers, but they were on a 5-game winning streak before that. You have to look at the losses because they missed a lot of games. Remember, they ended up missing like 2 weeks because of safety protocols and a couple of people catching the virus. So they're behind in games than certain other teams. So you kind of have to look at the loss column. And if you look at the loss column, I think they were tied right now with the Heat, who have like the 10th seed and losses. So and they still have some more games that they can make up. So they definitely could maybe get up there into. I don't think they'll be able to get to. I guess it depends on what your expectation was for them. I think they can get into the playoffs, and that's kind of what I had kind of expected for them. I think, especially if they keep playing as well as they were before this, they can kind of definitely get themselves into the playoffs with how much time and games that they still have to make up. So as long as they can keep this streak going, and it's kind of going back to what I just said. A lot of people saying blow them up like 2 weeks ago. Now it's like, okay, maybe they can get in. The season just feels like weird, so I think a lot of people are kind of holding up. So there's still a lot of time left, but like I said, it's kind of early but kind of late at the same time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, but I mean, I like what I'm seeing, man. I think that things seem like they're definitely finally starting to click for them. And Russ is, we got the number one Russ fan in the building with us right now, so he can definitely attest to it. But Russ is finally looking like he's getting back to where he needs to be.
Yeah, definitely. He talked about how he was injured, and after coming back from injury, he probably had to get his legs under him. So if he can kind of keep it up, then they should be able to make it to the playoffs. Rui has played well in these last couple of games. I've seen them giving him a lot of credit. Their rookie Denny Avia has played well. So it's been maybe of a team effort. They switched the lineup up. They went, I don't want to say small, but they added Mo Wagner into the starting lineup who can stretch the floor. So instead of going with Robin Lopez, so things could be looking up for them as long as they can kind of keep this going.
Yeah, for sure. We did talk a little bit about these all-star snub things. So I did want to get into that before we get off who got in and who didn't. Kay, you got any thoughts on what's been going on?
With the All Star game.
Yeah, just as far as we talked enough about like what the format is and what's going to happen, but I guess just as far as who's in, who's out, who got snubbed and things like that.
I guess going off who got snubbed, I would definitely say Devin Booker, but he got in now. And you kind of brought it up. Who you taking off? I'm taking Zion off. If AD was healthy, I'm taking Zion off and I'm putting Booker in.
What? Did you know the year Zion is having right now?
I'm putting Booker in. What's the
Zion
Pelicans'
is
record? What is their record? Zion, I
I'm
feel like Zion got in a little bit. I mean, obviously he's having a solid year and he hasn't been
solid.
getting as much attention, but I feel like he kind of got in off of maybe his name a little bit. People want to see him.
I think that Zion has went into full superstar mode in only his second year, and that's exactly why he got in. But the Pelicans' record as it stands right now is 14-17. They sit 11 in the West. While Phoenix is in fourth, and I've given Phoenix high praise, and Devin Booker is a tremendous player. As LeBron James and a lot of other people said, he is very disrespected in this league. The the biggest reason why the Phoenix Suns are doing so well right now is because they brought Chris Paul.
Uh, yes, fair enough. But the biggest reason why I guess it's kind of tough. The biggest reason why they're doing what they're doing is Devin Booker. But Chris Paul plays a huge part. So does Jay Crowder. So does Monty Williams. So does the guys who played well in the bubble. The team is just playing well. But I guess it's tough because then you have two Phoenix Suns in. But if it had to be one Phoenix Sun, I think it should definitely be Devin Booker. So whether you want to take Chris Paul out or Zion, I'm thinking Zion. But you can take Chris Paul out too.
Okay. Well, let's talk about who got in here as far as reserves go in the Eastern Conference. We got Brooklyn Nets own James Harden, then across the bridge, Julius Randle. I know a lot of Knicks fans were very happy about Julius Randle getting in there. Get a little hand claps in for yourself. Kayson is also very happy for you guys. Finally got an all-star since Carmelo Anthony. You got Jason Tatum coming in from the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown also of the Boston Celtics. Zach LaVine of the Chicago Bulls. Zach LaVine is having a tremendous year. I don't think the Bulls are going to move off from him, but that's definitely somebody to keep an eye on moving forward. Also like the tandem of him and Kobe White. They both put up, an amazing game the other night. Don't know if you saw that, Kay. Ben Simmons from the Philadelphia 76ers. and Nikola Vucevic of the Orlando Magic. Thoughts?
It sounds solid right now. I feel like before I had someone in the East I felt like should have got in. But right now, I can't think of him. I think it's solid. I think if anyone have to come off or anyone you want to switch, I think Vucevic. It'll kind of be the same that I was just talking about with the Pelicans. They're not doing as well this season, so I can see maybe him being replaced. I think besides that, everyone else is pretty solid over in the East.
Yeah, yeah. I completely agree here. Just give me a second here while I pull up the the rest of.
But
Yeah,
yeah, I think
go ahead. Go ahead.
Zach Levine definitely deserved to get in with the season he's having. Uh, Jason Tatum. We gotta talk about the Celtics because the Celtics are on like a spiral downfall.
Yeah, I seen a lot of people talking about that lately. Some people are kind of pointing to Brad Stevens and how much blame does he get in it. I kind of want to agree with what Kendrick Perkins had been talking about, where I'm not going to put it all on him, but he definitely deserves some blame. I feel like he's just too much of a nice guy. Like I think he's a tremendous coach, but I just think he's got to kind of go at these guys. Like that's one of the things Kendrick Perkins was talking about. Like when they had Doc over there, like you got these guys that are making these huge amounts of money, and you got to be able to check those guys. Like Doc was doing that against a Paul Pierce and a Kevin Garnett. And Kendrick Perkins had a story where he was like, I guess he was complaining about what he wanted to do, and Doc was like, "No, we're trying to win a championship, and we need you to do this, this, and this. And if you don't want to do that, we can get you shipped out of here." And I just think that that's the type of mindset that I guess Brad Stevens needs to have. Because I'm just seeing it from the TV. I'm not in Boston. I'm not covering them or anything like that. I'm just kind of seeing his demeanor and things like that. And I give him all the props in the world as far as the X's and O's and things like that. But I think he's just got to kind of get at these guys a little harder.
I think I wouldn't knock him too much right now. I think he has earned kind of the respect over the years and excuse me, dealing with different situations and stuff, whether it was Kyrie being out, dealing with Kyrie coming back. And the Celtics have always kind of been good since he's been there. So they kind of hit a rough patch right now, and that's kind of what I would chop it up to. I seen a lot of people calling maybe he should be fired and things like that. He has done a very good job for them since he has been there, maybe way better than anyone expected. So I wouldn't just because they hit this one little rough patch, I wouldn't just say it's kind of time for him to go. I think you think about Jason Tatum had came out and made a comment about how he's recovering from COVID and it's still hard for him to breathe. So dealing with that, Marcus Smart went down. They were playing good to start the season. Just people being out the lineup because of COVID. Obviously, he should have, with what we see from him, he should have been able to do a better job of juggling. But it's a weird season, and there's weird things going on. I think they're like 3 games under 500 now. But I think all in all, he has earned the respect to kind of maybe fall off a little bit and have a chance to kind of get it back. So I think they'll be fine when everything gets settled in with Jason Tatum. And we talked about people recovering from COVID. When Jason Tatum he's been playing well, but when he kind of really gets himself back to where he should be, I think they'll be back. And then when Marcus Smart comes back too. So I think the Celtics are all right in a little tough spot right now, but I think they're all right.
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my man Andre Dante Montilla. He was not. Last time I talked to him, he was not giving Jason Tatum his props. That was over December as far as where he is as a player. And just your comments right there. I just had to say that because when Jason Tatum does be able to overcome the lingering effects of COVID-19, he's going to show out like he's been doing. Like we're talking about a guy that has led the Celtics, really led this even with Kyrie there, led the Celtics since his rookie year.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I feel like they'll be all right. And Marcus Smart is kind of like their leader, especially emotional leader and things like that. He's like their player who gets in people's faces. So like missing him, the problems they had with Tatum, they missed a couple games because of COVID and protocol safety issues and things like that. So when they get everything back together, I think the Celtics will be exactly the team we expected them to be and what they were earlier in the year too.
Right. Definitely feel you. And I mean, if Brad Stevens doesn't get it together, the organization like the Celtics ain't going to be afraid to cut bait there.
Yeah, I think he deserves, like I said, I think he deserves some opportunity to maybe I want to say fail a little bit, but fall off a little bit and have a chance to kind of bring it back with all the success he has had over there. Because
Right, right.
if you think about it, this is his first time kind of doing bad. You know what I mean? Like since he's been there, he has kind of exceeded our expectations, especially early on. And then we after that we realized he was just a solid coach. This is kind of his first time like doing bad for the Celtics. So it's like I think he deserves a chance to kind of 4 years of success, a couple bad months. You get a chance to kind of redeem yourself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Let's get into these West All Stars though. As far as we know, the starters. No, we actually never talked about the starters, right? I think last time we recorded was when they got announced.
Actually, yeah, I think it might have got announced right after.
Okay, so then we got to get the full thing going here. Well, let me give you the reserves in the West. This we gave you the reserves in the East. Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, Rudy Gobert, Zion Williamson, Anthony Davis, who will now be, out, and they brought Devin Booker in there. Donovan Spider Mitchell and Paul George. I'm not mad at this at all. Yeah, I got no complaints. I know you said you thought Zion should have been out, but I got no complaints here. I think all these guys are having tremendous years. The one case that we heard a lot of people talking about was actually that Dame should be a starter, which I agree with.
Yeah, I can agree with Dame being starters, but the starters are determined by fan vote. So Luka is getting a lot of love over here in the states, and then he gets that a lot of international love. So I'm not too surprised. Obviously, I think I may have picked Dame to maybe get in the starting lineup, but like I said, if it comes to the reserves, if I had to choose, which you don't have to because AD got hurt, I'm putting Devin Booker over CP or Zion, whichever one you want to take out. But I feel like he definitely should have been, especially with the year that the Suns are having. So if they didn't want to put two Suns players in there because they didn't feel like they were good enough to have two players, then I think the spot goes to Booker. But he has missed a couple games, so I see why maybe they gave it to CP. But I would definitely maybe put him over Zion.
I mean, with the year they're having, they should have two All Stars though. I think both of those guys are leading the way. They've been super. I mean, they've won games literally because of both of them. Like, Devin Booker puts, or Chris Paul setting it off at the end of games, putting up a big shot. They get the ball back, and Devin Booker's hitting a big shot right after, to seal the win. But what's I think what's crazy to me is, was this the second year in a row that Devin Booker's had to deal with this?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure that he got in because somebody got pulled out last year.
But last year they didn't have as good as a record. That's why I feel like now that they have a good record, he should have definitely got in. So that's why it was a little confusing to me. That's why I felt like he kind of deserved to kind of be in there. Last year I can see why, record wise, how they do with things like that. But like I said, that's why I probably maybe would have put him over Zion.
Yeah, feel you. Let's get into, I guess, the snubs here from who didn't get in at all. Devin Booker was the first one, but he's in now. Trae Young from the Atlanta Hawks didn't make it in the East. Domantas Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers, another guy in the East that didn't make it.
That's what I was gonna say. I meant to say Sabonis. Remember earlier I said I was trying to think of the player. It was Sabonis. I feel like Sabonis maybe should have been.
He's having a very good year.
Yeah,
but he's always been good. Like even from his time in Oklahoma City. Where did he play? He didn't go straight to the Pacers after Oklahoma City. Was he? Where he was? Oh, he did.
Yeah, that was in the PG trade.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. Well, I mean, he's been solid between his rookie year in Oklahoma City to when he's been with the Pacers.
And he was an All-Star last year. I think maybe the year before that. But the Pacers are what, in like the fourth seed? He's been their best player all year. I feel like he should get in, and he was an All-Star last year, so he's always been putting up All-Star numbers. So I feel like the Pacers being the fourth seed and not having one player in, especially a player like Sabonis. So I think they said he was averaging something that only a couple people have average right now. So I feel like Sabonis was the player. I feel like he should have gotten in.
Yeah, another one that didn't make it in the East is Chris Middleton, who's been a multiple-time All-Star now. You have
the Bucks aren't having as good as the season, so I can see why he didn't get in.
De'Aaron Fox from the Sacramento Kings, a team that's not having a very good year, but we all know how good De'Aaron Fox is. Your man, former Oklahoma City Thunder, Jeremy Grant of the Detroit Pistons did not get in. Fred Van Vliet of the Toronto.
The Pistons aren't having that good of a season for him to get in. He's playing well, but
Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just delivering you the list that are here, the names that are on the list. But I
I
agree.
I don't know if Shea Gilgis Alexander's on there, but I feel like he should have deserved some looks as
Just Alexander just put up 42. Like we can talk all day about how he should have got on there. And Fred and Shea Gilgis Alexander is going to be special. I think even though they got Paul George in the trade and it put them in a position to win a championship, years down the road, the Clippers will be kicking themselves for trading this kid, and they will hope as much as possible to sign him in free agency.
I doubt they'll be able to re-sign him. But yeah, just because Shane Gilgeous he's a younger player. He's gonna be around longer than PG will from like right now. So I feel like later on, like maybe after PG retires or if the championship doesn't work out, then yeah, they would probably want to have kept the younger player. But I think they want to be kicking themselves too much because you got to take that chance. So they take their chances.
Yeah. Fred Van Vliet of the Toronto Raptors, also another guy here. Then we got we got two more guys here. Who's Mike Conley of the Utah Jazz and DeMar DeRozan of the San Antonio Spurs.
I don't think that if Conley got in, they would have to have three players in, and they're having a very, very good season. But I think three players in for the Jazz would be kind of crazy. And who are you taking out? So he's not going in over Dame. He's not going in over Mitchell. So then it's obviously either CP, and I feel like Booker could have maybe got that spot. So you had to jump maybe CP and Booker. So I don't see that. And DeMar DeRozan, a little bit of the same. It's kind of like he's having a solid season. And then the East he probably would have got in. It's just in the West, it's kind of tough with these guards. So who's he jumping over?
Nah, man, I'm all the way there with you. I can't really disagree. Like I said, don't shoot the messenger, man. I'm just giving the names off that they had on there.
I'm just giving my opinion of them as you go along, so I can kind of get them out while you say it. Because there was some of them, as soon as I heard them, I already know. Well, I feel like these guys shouldn't have made it, but that's why they call them snubs.
For sure. I will give you the starters right now. I just want to get to a different page that'll just give me the straight up list instead of
I can probably tell you starters off the top of my head.
No, I got him. I got him. So in the West, you got LeBron James, Steph Curry. You also got Kawhi Leonard, Luka Doncic, and then my man from the Denver Nuggets, the big man.
The Joker.
Yes. Any thoughts?
Well, I think we kind of talked about it already. Dame Lillard, so maybe been able to get in there, but like it's a fan vote, and I don't think he's gonna outvote Luka. Luka's in a bigger market, and he's probably bigger internationally, so he wasn't gonna outvote Luka when it comes to fans. But Damian Lillard, maybe, but it's a fan vote.
In the West, you got the Brooklyn Nets got three guys in, man. Good for them. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal, who was one of the guys that we all thought got snubbed last year, led in voting, and definitely glad to see him get on there.
If Brooklyn didn't get three in, I think it would have been an uproar, no matter what. Those three guys should be in there. But
can I play devil's advocate? I know people are going to kill me for this, but can I play devil's advocate on that one?
Go ahead.
Because James Harden came from the West, midway through, was there a case? I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just playing devil's advocate, just to have some conversation here. Could a case be made as to why he didn't get in?
I would need to know who they're gonna put over him.
But do you see what I'm saying, though?
I see what you're saying, but I would need to see like who would be put over him, and I feel like that person would need like a solid case. Because I feel like even obviously he came to the conference later on, but he's been playing well since he got in the conference, and I think I guess he didn't look good, but like the play before he got to the conference should kind of count towards getting in too. So like if he was killing in the West and then came to the East, he shouldn't be like, oh, he should have made it because he only played against 5 Eastern Conference teams. I think even though he was killing in the West and he ended up getting traded, that should kind of roll over and kind of have an effect on if he should make it or not. But I would need to know what other guard would you put over him right now?
Now I feel like I just want to play devil's advocate. That was my only thing because I have no answer for that. I just wanted to throw
Because
it out
like
there.
Fred Van Vliet, not really. I would still pick James Harden. Even like the James Harden's time in the East versus Van Vliet all year. I'm probably gonna take James Harden. Uh, what you about to say?
I was gonna say, like, speaking of him, like, are we closer to him being the future of the Toronto Raptors, like moving forward? Like, when is it time to cut bait with Kyle Lowry? Like, I think there's a chance Kyle Lowry gets moved at the deadline.
I think I've been kind of hearing those rumors too, but yeah, I think yeah, it's just maybe time to get rid of him. I think he probably wants to be on maybe a championship contending team too. So even though I think they love Kyle Lowry over there, like you said, Van Vliet and those guys will probably be the future going forward. So I think, and it also maybe like a couple of years, you're not gonna know what you can get for maybe Kyle Lowry. So I think right now you might want to sell him while he's still high and get something for him because they're not winning that much anyway. So and Van Vliet, I think in a couple of years because he's younger, he's playing well. I think you'll be able to get more for him. So I would keep him and maybe get rid of Kyle Lowry right now.
Right on, right on. Before we move on to the next thing, what really bothered me with the All Star selection was fan voting have so much weight on an outcome. I don't agree with that. If you remember a couple years ago, Zaza Pachulia almost got in as an All Star because of fan voting, and we all know Zaza Pachulia should at that time or ever been an All Star. Not saying he's a bad player, but not an All Star, not an All Star talent. And, to see it kind of rear its head again, with the whole Damian Lillard, Luka Doncic thing, that just kind of bothers me a little bit. I think that something should be done about that.
Yeah, and that's kind of why they made the change to like fans only having 50% of the vote, but their vote is kind of the final count. But I think they still want to have like the All Star game is about the fan interaction, so I feel like they still want to kind of have that fan interaction, even though they have a lot of stuff that goes on during All Star weekend. But in a year like this, where no fans are probably gonna be able to go, I think it'd have been tough for them to kind of make the change. But I think obviously some people are gonna have some problem with it, but they want to keep that fan interaction and make the fans feel like they have a say in kind of what's going on. So if you kind of take that out, who gets the final say? Do you go coaches? Do you go players? It's a fan game, so I get why you leave it up to the fans.
Yeah, like I just when it's affecting things like that, that's what just makes me question it. So I think like maybe coaches should have be like a tiebreaker or something like that. There, I just think would because I was having a conversation with somebody about it. Fans aren't willing to put in as much as they love the athletes and the teams and everything. They're not going to always put the work in the way professionals do to get content out or make decisions. And I think that's why no disrespect to the fans, we love the fans, but I think because of what I just said, when we talk about things like that, that's why getting something decided should go to a voting from the coaches or the NBA or something like that.
Yeah, possibly. I'm not gonna. Obviously, in cases like this, and even last year, you think about Bradley Beal. He should have maybe been in last year. People had an uproar about that. So like, it it's a fan game. So I get it. So like, if you take that power away from the fans, it's kind of like I don't know. With how long it's been going for, maybe they'll be upset, maybe not. I get it though. It's a fan game. Let them feel like they kind of have a say in what's going on. Let them see who they want to see because that's kind of who it's for. That's who's probably paying the $20,000 for courtside tickets. So if they want to see Luca, let them see Luca. Now, if it was like an NBA Finals game or something that's going to be important, then I think it'd be more of an uproar. But if you want to see Luca in the last 5 minutes of the game, let them see Luca.
Yeah, whatever. What are you gonna do? Man, you guys are quiet today. We only have one question so far. Oh, let's keep giving it to them then. Whatever. The Brooklyn Nets look amazing right now, and we shouldn't be too shocked when they brought these three guys together. We kind of expected them to really show out on offense. Our one question was, how do they figure out of who's the second and third options on this team? But they got to figure it out. You know, Kyrie came to James Harden and said, "You're the point guard of this team," and they actually won their last couple of games with no Kevin Durant. Like Kyrie and James Harden just doing their thing, man, and it's crazy to see. I know a lot of people are now starting to say like who can beat them. You know, everybody's still saying the same things though. You know, they can't stop anybody, but the rebuttal to it is you have to outscore them, and who's going to outscore them in a 7-game series?
Yeah, like I first said when they got together, who's gonna play point guard? They solved that issue, and then their defense have been looking a little better. I would think went 5-0 on that West Coast trip. I think they beat the Kings, the Warriors, both LA teams. So they had some impressive wins without KD. I think, like I said, their defense doesn't have to be great all year long. It just has to be solid when they need it. And one thing we learned about them so far this year is that they're going to show up in the big game. So, like, whether how they look against the lesser competition, they're kind of taking them for granted. They show up in those big games. And obviously, missing people, having people in and out, they're definitely going to show up. So, like you said, I think now it's kind of like who could maybe beat them, because I think everyone kind of knew that James Harden and Kyrie kind of have to figure out how to blend together. And with those two kind of personalities, too, how it's going to work. I think they're on the same page, and it's going to be just so easy for them to fit KD in when he does finally come back. So when he comes back, I think they're just going to keep rolling how they're going. It's going to, like you said, it's going to come down to who really can kind of beat these guys. And obviously, defense is going to be an issue, but like I said, you got to be solid when you need it. And I think they've shown us right now that they can be solid when they need to be solid.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Agree with everything 100% of what you just said. Here's some moves that they made that I think were like really shocking, though. Guys that we kept talking about how they needed to really bolster their defense, and they bring these guys on, and you're like, okay, that's something there. Then they waived them. Noah Vonleh, Iman Shumpert, and Andre Robertson all got waived ahead of the deadline, to guarantee some deals for the season. Adrian Wojnarowski, of ESPN put out that the Nets were keeping roster flexibility to take on players in trades or the buyout free agent market. And then the same day, he said that they were signing Tyler Cook to a 10-day contract.
Yeah, but they ended up bringing Iman Shumpert and Robertson back. So they signed them to 10-day contracts. I think they said they're trying to keep themselves flexible. But those guys kind of didn't really get in the game, but I guess you're going to bring them back on 10-day contracts. They're trying to leave themselves open, I guess, if a trade does arise or someone gets waived or bought out or something like that. So it's smart by them. I think they get like maybe 2 or 3 10-day contracts where they have to sign for the rest of the year. So they're trying to keep their options open. Like I said, it's early, but it's late, and we're still trying to see who's going to be big sellers at the trade deadline. So they don't want to lock themselves into anything, and then later on, someone who has a very valuable player becomes a seller, and then they end up missing out.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think that Andre Robertson and Iman Shumpert are definitely going to be two guys that are key players for them as far as the defensive side of the ball goes. You definitely would want to keep those guys around. Not saying I don't get what they're doing. I just want to see who you're going to be able to bring in if you're going to have to let those guys go.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, I think there'll be big parts on the defensive end, but I don't know. Like you said, it's too early kind of to tell who's going to be sellers or not. I think I brought up Trevor Ariza and maybe George Hill maybe last week. So those may be some guys too. But I think they're right now just want to keep their options open and before they kind of fully lock in. But the way things are looking, they might not need to make a trade. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? I think that's definitely what they're falling into right now.
Yeah, yeah. And then KD's not back yet, so when KD comes back, they just added with the way they've been rolling. I think it's gonna be crazy. It might even get worse. So like, they might be good at where they're at. They finally got something going. They're on a 7 game winning streak. I believe they're playing tonight. They got something going, so I wouldn't want to kind of switch it up right now. After all the changes and stuff they've been going through this season, they're rolling. I'd keep it rolling.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you. But I just want to say, man, I am not falling back on my Philadelphia thing. I really think I would put money down it's going to be them and the Sixers in the Eastern Conference Finals, and I think highly enough of both teams that that's going to go seven.
I can see why you said that. The Bucks haven't looked as well this season. We just talked about Boston and their downs. Right now, that's what it's looking like. It looks like they're on a collision course. It'd be interesting to see when they finally match up in the regular season, kind of how that game goes. Because the Nets still have a big man kind of problem. I think Joel Embiid will give them a lot of problems. So I think that matchup won't suit the Nets as well. So like, and then when you got a big man like that, you kind of slow the game down and work the post. So the Nets, the 76ers won't have to worry about outscoring them as much. It'll just be more playing their game, slowing the ball down, and things like that. So the Nets are still kind of maybe looking for another big. Maybe they can get DeMarcus Cousins or something. But the Sixers can give them a lot of problems.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man, definitely. Have you seen my Miami Heat lately?
You said, have I seen them?
Yeah.
A little bit of them. I think I seen the, if they. I believe they played the Lakers not too long ago. I see them win that game, and yeah, I've seen a little bit of them.
Got a nice win streak going.
Well, Jimmy Butler missed some time. I don't know if it was COVID or COVID protocols, and Tyler Hero missed some time early on. So I think they're just finally getting all their pieces back together. I think everyone thought that they'll get it together. I know I've seen a lot of people panicking, but for a while there was no Jimmy. Hero was down a little bit. COVID issues, this type of crazy season that's going on. I think they're finally getting everybody back, and they're gonna get back to Heat basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Jimmy Butler coming back, Tyler Hero. I think a lot of people over there like Precious Achiuwa a lot. I think the other thing that has to be said, is the man that was the runner-up for Rookie of the Year last year, Kendrick Nunn, is playing back to form. This kid is lighting it up right now, looking a lot of why we talk so highly of him as a rookie a year ago.
Yeah, and that's another thing that's coming back for them. Like I said, I think they were just. We talked about the Lakers having like a quick turnaround, but the Heat had a quick turnaround too. So they had a quick turnaround. Then they had a couple COVID issues to deal with. I think they just kind of got hit hard early on in the season, and I think those kind of issues brought opportunities for Kendrick Nunn to get back out there and some other players to get back out there, get their feet under them, get some playing time again. And after he kind of got that and got the ball rolling, he's kind of back to where he was because I think did he end up catching COVID right before the playoffs?
He did.
And
He did.
that's why he ended up missing time. And after that, he just couldn't get back in the rotation. So it's kind of like the same thing. You know what they say: how you get him is how you lose him. And it's kind of like he lost his minutes because of COVID issues and kind of just falling behind the ball, and then he's getting back out there because of COVID issues, and the opportunity opened itself, and he took advantage of it. So they're getting back rolling, and we just gotta wait and see. I'm happy for him though.
Yeah, I mean, another player that they're talking about, they're in the mix for. They almost signed him a year ago, DeMarcus Cousins. It's a guy I think fits in very well with what they want to do.
Yeah, I think DeMarcus Cousins has a lot of options. It'd be interesting if he goes to Miami, because there's some other teams that maybe look more of a contender. We brought up the Lakers, the Nets, so I feel like those maybe be at the top of his list. But if Miami comes with maybe a very compelling offer and a lot of opportunity, and so I think DeMarcus Cousins right now needs someone that's gonna believe in him, and maybe not just believe in him for like a short term type of thing. Someone that's gonna believe in him and with like maybe a multi-year contract or something like that. So I think if the Heat comes on like an opportunity like that, he'll definitely look into it. And then it's Miami. We're out here living good. It was like 80 degrees today.
Oh, I like how you just want to throw that in there while we're in New York, nice 40 something degree weather. Got the snow's out of the way though, so that's fun.
Right. I haven't seen snow in a while. Uh,
I dig the shirt, by the way.
I don't think the people can see it. Miami, we out here, man.
K's got a new home, man. K's got a new home. Soon come for me. Hopefully so. I guess the other thing we got to get into. Well, we got another question here. Adia R. Are y'all gonna make March Madness brackets? Who do you guys think is gonna take it all? Are they even doing it this year? Yes. Wait, are they doing March Madness brackets or are they doing March Madness?
I think she means March Madness.
Yeah, they're doing that. Yeah, the big dance is going to be happening. Limited fans were announced for that. Also, the other thing that I heard was, that if a team can't play due to COVID, they're not going to reseed the brackets. They're just going to go straight through how it is. I guess you get a bye if your opponent catches COVID and can't compete. So yeah, the plan is to roll it out there. I definitely can't wait. I think we all can't wait. I just can't wait for March has always been a big month for me as a college athletics fan. You guys know I'm a big wrestling guy. Check out the new article out, by the way. We got some more interviews too. Shameless plug, but between basketball and wrestling, I'm always tied up in March, and I'm glad we're getting both tournaments this year coming up. Big wrestling action kicking off. Start this weekend, start tomorrow too, by the way. But yeah, I'm glad to see that March Madness is back. Am I gonna make a bracket? Kayson usually sends me something every year, so hopefully he does this year. I'll definitely be in there for that. And who do I think is gonna take it all? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I like Michigan a lot, but I don't think that they're ready yet, to go all the way. But Kay, I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, definitely gonna do a bracket this year. I think they're gonna have it. Everyone that's in there, I do like the ESPN bracket challenge where everyone can kind of join and make their bracket. So if anyone wants to join, let me know. Who do I think is gonna take it this year? I think Gonzaga looks like the favorite right now. They've been number one for kind of most of the time this year. I think Texas is gonna be a big challenge too. I think Texas has a chance with Shaka Smart and them over there. Excuse me. I think it's kind of up in the air. I think it's kind of like what I was saying with the NBA. There's been a lot of ups and downs this season, a lot of missed games. It's going to be interesting to see because I don't think some teams are going to be able to make up those games that are missed. So it's going to be interesting to see how the committee takes some of that, the missed games and things like that, certain players missing certain games and how they kind of judge everyone and how they kind of level the tournament out. So, like I said, Gonzaga, I think Texas will be up there. Duke and them kind of haven't been having that good of a year this year. Like you said, Michigan's up there. They just came back from their protocol. So yeah, I think those three teams right now, off the top of my head, I think would kind of be the favorite. If I had to maybe pick one, I might go with Gonzaga. I like what kind of Gonzaga's been doing over there.
Right. They, I don't see how Rutgers falls into this equation. I felt so bad for that program. They were having like such a really, really good year last year. We're gonna get in, and matter of fact, I think they did get in, and then the tournament got canceled like right after they found out, which was up. That sucks. Like considering it's been a long time since they've been able to do what they were doing last year.
Yeah, them and Dayton
Hofstra
too.
was another one.
Yeah, Dayton too with what's my guy's name who plays for the Knicks right now?
Obi Toppin.
Yeah, with them over there, they were looking like they're going to be a one seed, and unfortunately, they weren't able to kind of make the tournament. And I think that might be the first time there was the one seed in their school history. So, or at least been a while. So, it's unfortunate kind of what happened last year. So we kind of just kind of got to go with it. But yeah, that's this year. This year.
Michigan just beat Iowa 79 to 57, as we were just saying that too. Just crazy. I would rank number 9 right now.
Yeah, I think Michigan had another big win, kind of by a couple points the other day. I forgot who they were playing, but they just got out of protocol, so they kind of got to get things rolling. It's good to see them get out of I guess missing 2 weeks and hitting the ground running and still beating some top teams. So, like you said, Michigan's gonna be up there this year, so it's gonna be interesting to see how the brackets fall.
Love the job Jawan Howard's doing over there. Oh, got another question from Shatora Davis. How do y'all feel about the Mavs trading KP? Followed that up with, well, should they? Me personally, I don't think they should because remember way back when they had Steve Nash and they had Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, and they broke that up, and they had been kicking themselves ever since, saying they should have never broke that up, and then they bring in Luka Doncic, bring in KP, and say this is our next shot at what we missed out on, and we don't want to break this up. So I think that they should wait off a little bit just because of a scenario like that, and we know how good Kristaps Porzingis is when healthy. But also, I understand why you would have the talks of trading him. He just can't stay healthy. So, I mean, I would wait on it, but I could see why.
Yeah, I probably definitely wait on it too. You see the season they were able to have last year and making the playoffs and giving the Clippers a challenge. I know he missed like the last two games, but it's injuries with him. So I guess they didn't give up too much to get him. But like you said, him and Luca together, I think they have a good chemistry together. They really like each other. They want to play together. So I would keep it. I don't understand. It's one of those things that I said on here a couple times now. People are kind of too quick to blow teams up. Chemistry is something that it will be important, especially for a team like them. They're still kind of young. Their stars are kind of young. Need some time to develop, to go through their ups and downs. Now, obviously, he has to stay healthy. But when he's healthy, he's clearly their second best player and one of the top players in the league. So I wouldn't just give him up. I don't know what they could get back for him either. So I guess that would matter too. But I don't even know why this is a rumor and why they're kind of considering this. So obviously, like you said, he's been hurt, but like he's still a great player.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Before we get out of here, I gotta give you guys my weekly wrestling thing. I told you guys conference weekend starts up this weekend. We got the EIWAs, no Ivy Leagues this year. The Ivy League opted out of all college sports due to COVID, but the EIWAs, instead of a 2-day tournament, will be a 1-day tournament. A lot of people believe Navy can win it this year with Lehigh coming in as the trying to defend their title, so Lehigh's definitely down this year from where they've been in years past. With a lot of guys just between graduated a lot of their top guys. Some guys just transferred out. But Kerry Colat in his first year over at Navy's done a very good job, and we'll see if they can take it there. And we'll find out this week. We'll find out by tomorrow who's qualified for the NCAA tournament in mid-March. And then following that, got the ACCs, the MAC championships, which will be a 2-day tournament. The ACCs will definitely be the highlight of the weekend. Got a lot of top 25 teams, even though it's a 6-team conference. So that's definitely going to be one to behold as well. And then a week off, and then we got Big Tens and Big 12s. So down to the grind. Wrote something the other day about Kale Sanderson and the Penn State Nittany Lions, and obviously the Iowa Hawkeyes should absolutely be the favorites to win the national title and the Big Ten title, because of the firepower that they have over there. They most likely would have won it last year had the NCAA's not been canceled. But Kale Sanderson is back. Kale Sanderson and his staff are back with another young group, seven freshmen. There's not freshmen, but 7 underclassmen. And, most of them are ranked in the top 20. With Robert Howard, their starter 125-pounder, the only guy sitting outside the top 15. Got Greg Kirkvliet in there at heavyweight now, who we didn't even know was going to compete. And, I mean, it just looks a lot like it did when they had most of their lineup in 2011 as underclassmen. And what did they do? They went out and won a national title, then won the next 3 after that, and took some red shirts, came back with most of their lineup being underclassmen, won a national title, and then won the next 3 after that. And he get those guys that look like they've been getting better as the season went on, and he gets them to peak and outperform their seeds every time. So it's gonna be a good race. Kay, you got anything for him before we get out of here?
Quick question for you. LeBron and KD get to choose the teams. We didn't get to see what roster they picked, but who are you going with right now? Just off of who they might like. Well, who was the better GM? Who you going with right now?
It's weird because I've never seen. I don't think I've ever seen KD in the GM role.
I don't. No, I think Giannis got the pick the last couple of years.
Yeah, because Giannis has been the captain. I don't, but I'm saying like even like because it's always like oh LeBron plays for this team, he's picking who his teammates are like that. That's always been out there. I don't. That's never been associated with KD. He was with the War. He was with Oklahoma City, and he didn't get that there. We know that. Then he went to Golden State, and kind of just joined what was already there. And this is only his second year in Brooklyn, first year playing. So we never even got to see KD with that hat like at all. I mean, I guess you could say he wanted to play with Kyrie and James Harden, but nah. I guess because I got to go with what I know. So I got to go with LeBron there because I seen what LeBron, especially when we seen him pick his All Star teams. LeBron's All Star teams the last couple of years has been like his picks, the teams he's put together have been great.
Yeah, I feel like KD might pick like his friends, like the people he's kind of cool with in the league. But like you said, I'm gonna go with KD right now. I feel like KD's gonna pick all his friends and they're gonna win. But I feel like that's how he's kind of gonna go about it. He's just gonna pick his friends.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
man.
really they're both two great basketball minds, so it's kind of like and they're picking from a pool of great players. So I
Yeah,
feel so it's gonna be interesting. I think the draft is gonna be like next week on Thursday. It might be tonight. But yeah, well,
if it is, we missed it. It's already 9:19.
all right. So then it's next week, I believe. Is next week the fourth? Is next Thursday the fourth?
Um,
Let me check.
well, my birthday is on Sunday, so that's the end of the
Well,
month.
yeah, Thursday is the fourth. The draft's on the fourth. Everyone say happy birthday to Rich. Give yourself a round of applause.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. I'll be celebrating, but like I said, man, it's just another year closer to 30. What is it? 30 is the new 20. I gotta keep thinking like that, right?
That's what they say. Since we had to sit inside in quarantine, you basically got like 2 years back because you got the rest of your body. So really, you're like 2 years younger than what you really are.
I like how you think, man. I like how you think. It's almost like I was born on the 29th instead of the 28th.
But we do have another question.
Yeah, Shatora Davis again. Do you guys think the Wizards should think about trading Russ before the deadline? No, I do not. I think the Wizards are finally getting it together. I like what Russ has been doing. He looks back into form, and yeah, I think that they should stick with what they got. They should probably think about adding to what they got.
I've been saying for a while they need to kind of add to what they got. So if they could add to what they got and add another couple pieces and really fix that roster up, then sure. I've been seeing a lot of rumors about them. Maybe consider trading him, and maybe that's before they kind of went on that streak. I think if the opportunity arises and maybe you can get something for him and maybe get him somewhere on like a contender or somewhere he would want to be, then sure. But I also I'm on both sides because I feel like you should play the rest of the season out. Like I said, you might have to end up trading Bradley Beal in the summer anyway. You hold on to the roster, maybe try to upgrade it, get a couple pieces here and there, try to see what you can do in the summer. If it doesn't work out, then they kind of should just blow it up from there. And I'm talking about from top to the bottom. Scott Brooks got to go, Beal got to go, Russ got to go, everybody got to go. So I think yes, if the right opportunity arises, but if not, I think they should be all right.
I think if they make the playoffs this year, you know, regardless of what happens, if they make the playoffs this year, I think Bradley Beal's gonna feel a lot better about the team he's with and be more willing to stick it out than anything. Which is in the way they're playing right now, kind of you got to ride with the hot hand. So I think like it's trending upward for them. Because remember a few weeks back, I was saying they need to just completely blow it up now. Like that's how bad they looked. But they definitely turned it around. And I think if they can continue this thing, like things are good for them. They probably still should think about getting rid of Scott Brooks though. But I think that they're putting themselves in a better chance to keep Bradley they're giving themselves a better chance to keep Bradley Beal, and just if as long as they're playing like this, they should be all right.
Yeah, but they gotta kind of keep building on what they're doing because obviously he wants to make the playoffs, but he still wants to win. So I guess with the way the season started, if things end up ending well, he would maybe want to stick it through and see what happens. But they still need to upgrade the roster, so I don't think they should be looking at it. They should be looking to still upgrade this roster, and I think upgrading the roster, then making the playoffs, maybe making a little noise in the playoffs, whether it's winning 2 games or 3 games or whatever they could do. I think that would sit well for him more. So like, still got to upgrade the roster.
Yeah, definitely. Another question here from I love the questions, guys. I just wish you guys would give them to us more when we were in the show. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I don't know. Adia R, should the Lakers be concerned about losing to the Jazz? Nah, I don't think so. Not really. Because one, you have no Anthony Davis. Kayson mentioned earlier how they don't even have Schroeder playing right now. And then the other thing to take in consideration with it too is the Jazz have been lights out, for a while now. They were on like what? They won like 16 or 17 games straight, right, Kay?
I don't know. It's like 21 of the last 20 or something like that. They've been playing well.
Yeah, so I don't think you should be concerned about losing to the Jazz at this current point in time with the way that the Jazz look and then the pieces that you're missing. But the Lakers do have to get it together. They got to kind of figure something out, even with, having some guys down, because you don't want to fall out of it too much.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, they're. I wouldn't be too concerned because obviously you didn't have AD, you didn't have Schroeder. They're more of their concern will be the health of those guys and maybe not losing to the Jazz. The Jazz are playing well. They didn't just only beat the Lakers, you know what I mean? Like, they've been playing very well. And maybe that's a cause of concern because they're playing very well and they're able to beat you. But they didn't beat you at full strength. And in the playoff series, you're going to have more time to prepare for them and different things like that. So I wouldn't be too concerned right now. Like I said, if AD can't come back, I'd be very concerned. But they play him a couple more times throughout the year, and maybe they can figure something out. But I wouldn't be too concerned right now. It's still early. And they got some other issues they need to kind of sort out over there before they worry about kind of who their competition is.
Nika, I hope I'm saying this right. Wildator
Yeah.
ask, how do we feel about the Knicks? How do we feel about the Knicks?
I don't know. I still don't think they're back, and I think they've been playing. They've been playing better.
You know what's crazy? I told my brother that I was getting ready to do that, and he just like walked in and was just like bigging up the Knicks and how we need to talk about the Knicks more.
Oh, what, last week or this week?
No, today.
Oh, well,
like right before we came on, like when I was setting up, he's like, "So y'all talking about the Knicks more, man?" Like,
well, they did just lose to the Warriors, but I think they're beating the Kings right now. They fell. I
they
think
should beat the Kings.
They fell a little bit though, because I just looked at the standings and they're in the 10th spot exactly. So I think they. We talked to your dad off camera, which you guys got to miss, but he brought up the good point about how it's been a lot of up and downs for them. So I think they kind of have to figure out a way to find a consistency where I guess maybe it's not like, and the point he brought up is like they win 5, they lose 5. It's too much back and forth. They kind of got to maybe try to win 3, maybe lose 1, win 5, lose 1. Figure out a way to maybe gain some space where it's not like, okay, we're going to win 5 games, lose 5 games, and now, like I just said, they'll be back in the 11th spot and kind of back where they started. So a little more consistency.
I think we shouldn't be too shocked about it though, because one, when we did have that conversation with them, we were looking at the standings, and those teams all in that group were all only separated by around like a game or two, So that was one thing. And the other thing when it comes to the Knicks and their inconsistency, it's not like certain teams, there's a couple teams out there in the league that have like a perfect blend. Like that was Miami last year. They had this perfect blend of youth mixed with vets. Like the Knicks have some vets on the team, like obviously Julius Randle and stuff like that. But they got a lot of youth on that team too. And I think like that's probably, one of the biggest reasons for their inconsistencies. Them winning more games than they have been in the last couple of years, as well as being competitive with a lot of these teams, I think is, a credit to Tibbs and the job he does as a coach. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot of young players over there who don't know how to win.
Yeah, definitely. Who would you say the best player on the Knicks is?
Julius Randle.
Right, right, right. So would RJ be number two?
Yeah, but I love my dad, man, but like he'll hit me with that. The Knicks fans have this. It's not. Let me not say Knicks fans. New York sports fans, because I kept myself doing it too. New York sports fans have this thing where they overreact to everything, like every little thing. So this is RJ Barrett's second year in the league, and I have certain people telling me that that RJ Barrett they need to trade RJ Barrett in his second year. You know what I mean? So because he so some him not being able to close out and things like that. Scoring to the basket at will, but still not that he's a bad perimeter shooter, but not a consistent one. So because he's got those deficiencies in his game right now. But I mean, in year two, like I'm not really saying that right now.
Yeah, no, he still has a lot of time to develop, and he's been playing well. I think he's been put in a lot of different situations. I believe they had him play point a little bit last year. Now he's coming in under Tibbs. Tibbs is a different type of coach, and he wants a different type of things. And then it's still New York, so I think he's been dealing with a couple things. And also, we saw how he kind of played at Duke. He was kind of up, he was kind of down, and things like that. He didn't have that much of a right hand. He was kind of strong on his left hand. So it's still early, and I think with all those things considered, he has played pretty well. So I think it's still early. I wouldn't think about trading him at all. I think it's been kind of a bright spot for him a little bit. So the Knicks are the Knicks, and they just gotta, like I said, maybe get some more consistency.
Yeah, that's going to come with the type of players they have. That's going to come with age. I mean, I guess that their gripe with RJ was just kind of like you mentioned situations. I guess in-game situations with him, and they have a big lead, and he's partially to blame for why they blow it. But again, you got to go back to youth. There's a lot of youth on that team, and those guys kind of still got to learn to play at the pro level.
Yeah, well, he's young, so the Knicks have blown leads that they all just can't blame on RJ Barrett. They're blowing leads before he got there, so we're not gonna put that on RJ Barrett. So obviously, he's young, he has a lot to learn and things like that. But I'm not gonna put blowing leads on him.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. If you got anything else before we get out of here, let us know. Otherwise, want to thank you guys for tuning in again.
Oh, wait. We have to we have to talk about the Timberwolves and how they fired their
Oh
coach.
my God.
And
Oh my God. So the Timberwolves fought remember first of all, remember when Ryan Saunders got this job, how everybody was saying how great it was because he's, the late great Flip Saunders' son, and Flip Saunders is so, heavily known for being a part of the Timberwolves organization. And just, this is the perfect job for him and all that. It doesn't go well. They make the trade for D'Angelo Russell and everything. Still got Anthony Edwards now, who's a rookie. But things are just not going well. They have one of the worst records in the league. But for him, you can't put it all on him because I think he only got like 5 games total with Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell, and Karl Anthony Towns together. But aside from that, they fired Ryan Saunders. And usually, you'd be like, all right, you got the interim coach for the rest of the year. We'll start looking into candidates. They hired Ryan Saunders' replacement already the same day. They poached him over from the Toronto Raptors staff, and the same day you fire your coach, you already know who your next head coach is. That is insane. I've never heard of this in the history of sports.
it wasn't even the same day. He got fired after they lost to the Nets.
It
I
was
mean
in
the
the
Knicks.
same hour.
And they found his replacement in the same hour. So it was crazy, but it showed that they had his replacement kind of on deck. Which, like you said, it's unfortunate because he hasn't had a full roster, especially with everything that's been going on. Diaz, like you said, they only played 4 games together, so to kind of blame everything on him. And the Timberwolves were a pretty bad franchise before he got there. It wasn't doing too well before he got there, so he was kind of put not in the greatest situations. And then they made a couple trades, and then those trades kind of ended up not working out. Players missing time and things like that. So he hasn't been really gotten put in the best situation. But to me, it kind of shows that maybe they hired him because he was Flip Saunders' son. And also, it shows me that this is something that's been brewing for a while now. And it's kind of like, as soon as y'all lose, like, if you lose to the Knicks, it's kind of over for you. So they were kind of waiting for the perfect opportunity for them to kind of do that.
Yeah, it's just that is. I've never seen this before. I mean, the other thing I think we have to talk about too with this was, Dame and CJ McCollum were they were going pretty hard after the fact because the assistant over there didn't even get a look, and he's really paid his dues, and they just already had somebody else in mind.
Yeah, definitely. And usually in situations like this, the coach will get fired, and usually you'll take someone off your staff to be the interim head coach for the rest of the season. So it's tough to see a coach come in mid-season and try to make any changes. So, the fact that they fired their coach and then went and hired another coach for another team, so now that team has to find another assistant. He has to come in mid-season in a season like this that's shortened with no practices and try to change everything, put new philosophies in place, new things. It's just unheard of and kind of absurd. So if you have someone on the roster who a lot of people, like you said, already respect already, it just seems like a no-brainer to kind of give him the intern head coach job. And none of those losses would kind of go on his record. And then in the summer, you would interview a whole bunch of other people and figure out figure out who you want to give the job to, who deserves the job, however you want to go about it. But to come in and give a job at this time, a coach a job at this time, is even going to be tough for the Toronto coach that they gave it to.
Yeah, I guess they, if you feel like you got your man, you gotta strike on it while it's hot. But I mean, David Vanterpool, like Dame was saying, he's been on the bench, this entire time, been in the front office successfully. Here's what Dame said. How and I am quoting him. How the hell do you not hire David Vanderpool and he's right there on the bench? He has been in the front office successfully and on the front of a bench of a winning team successfully 7 years, and also has played a major role in the development of a dominant backcourt. Shaking my damn head.
Yeah, and like I said, and he's already on staff. It's easier for especially in the middle of a season after firing a coach. I don't think anyone's ever hired a coach like this mid-season. So that's the crazy thing about it. But usually you give it to someone who's on staff, who knows the other coach's philosophies, so you don't have to change too much right now. And then on top of that, this is a shortened season with not a lot of practices and things like that. So this new coach is it's gonna be extremely hard for him to come in and try to teach these guys basically something new in a couple of hours, and then throw those guys back out there to play a game. So this is kind of like extremely unheard of, and it's just something that that it's been brewing for a while now, and they plan on firing him for a while. They're just waiting for the perfect opportunity. And even still, with all that considered, it's still crazy for them to go outside of the organization right now and get a new coach.
It's unheard of. I wonder if this will ever happen again though.
Probably not. It's like extremely hard to do, to come in, because like a lot of coaches, I guess basketball is basketball, but like they're gonna have to learn stuff that they give teams 2 weeks, a whole training camp to do, and they have to learn that in a couple hours because they're playing games at least every other day and probably some back to back. So when he came in, what time does he have to kind of put his philosophy out there or do anything? It's just too hard to come in mid season like this. Not unless they did it like at the All-Star break, we got like a week off. maybe. But then you would be asking your team to come into work when they're supposed to have a week off. So I don't think we'll ever see it again.
The other crazy thing about this too, I don't. Carl Anthony Towns is doing his post game presser, and he was talking about how he wanted to stay with the Timberwolves for the long term. You know, had a lot to say. And again, within the hour, like after he says this, they fire Ryan Saunders.
Uh, I maybe it had something to do with. I don't know. I think that whole situation is crazy. I've never seen it. Like I don't know what's going on there. And even still, it would make more sense to kind of fire him during the off season, like with all things considered. So it's just bringing in this new coach going to make that much of a turnaround? Like probably not, because he's just not going to have the opportunity to change anything. He doesn't have the
Yeah,
time.
uh, I don't know. I'm not gonna say that. I think it's possible. You know, I think you want you know, yeah, Ryan Saunders only had those guys for 4 or 5 games together, but you know, I guess the other thing that they were looking at too is Ryan Saunders is extremely young. You know, he got that opportunity. You know, at an age that we don't really see a lot of guys get in the NBA.
And
So, you know, that could be one experience could be one factor in you know, that decision for them. But, you know, I mean, I don't know. I look, there's been teams we see them make a coaching change and they do a complete 180. So
but usually that
I
coaches,
don't I, I don't know if it's gonna happen this year, but I think, you know, you give it like a year or so, it could be a whole different conversation.
yeah, but usually that coach is on staff, and the year or so is good because then they have a whole off season together, and they have time to have a training camp. They have time to do stuff. So teams have fired coaches and made a whole turnaround, but usually that coach is like on staff already, where he knows the players, he knows the organization, the players know him, things like that. Like they went out to a whole organization where he starts to come in and meet these guys. Like he doesn't even know these guys. He's gonna come in there tomorrow and start telling them what to do. Like it just seems extremely hard. And as far as Saunders, like I said, it just seems like he might have got this job because his dad passed away, and excuse me, everything his dad had done for them, and things like that. So it seems, I don't know, I want to say a little unfair, but yeah, a little unfair.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Well, thank you guys for tuning in again. Love the support. Love the support. We had a lot of the Myries in here today, man. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you guys again for tuning in, man. We will be back next week. And yeah, man, definitely tune into the games tonight. We got a lot going on this week, sports related, a lot of content coming. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.